All right, now let's do the NBA playoffs.
Oh.
All right.
Give me what you got. Okay, so we're basically in the second round now.
Mm-hmm.
All of our first games of the second round, I think, have been played, except for actually Boston just finished off Game 7 with Atlanta, who gave them a big fight, and it was the 1 and the 8. It should never happen. Everybody thought it was going to be a 4-game sweep the way the Lakers did the Nuggets in the West. So Boston is taking on Cleveland next. That's going to be a big series. But outside of that, the other games have begun, and what do you have, Cenk?
All right, here's the situation. First of all, that Boston-Cleveland series is not going to be a big deal because nobody in the East is going to win a damn thing. Okay? Boston's the best team in basketball. No, they're not. Whichever team comes out of the West is going to kick the living crap out of them. You telling me you went to 7 games with the Atlanta Hawks? I mean, I saw them in Atlanta. They look scared, man. They look like they ran into an insurgency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're like, who's got us stuck in Tikrit or Fallujah here? We got to get the hell out of here. And they couldn't stop Joe Smith, I'm sorry, Joe Johnson. And I like Joe Johnson. He was pretty good with Phoenix, but he was like the number 4 option in Phoenix, and the best team in the NBA couldn't stop Joe Johnson? No. These guys are going to get clowned by either the Lakers or the Spurs. So I'm not even going to talk about the East because the East is irrelevant. Now we come to the West, right? And Hornets versus Spurs. Hornets have the 1-0 lead.
Hornets blew them out 101-82 in the first game.
And I saw the first game, and they did blow them out, right? And it was impressive. Mm-hmm. Not buying it. Look, you count the Spurs out at your peril. The Spurs are definitely going to make a comeback. And I'm not saying it's not going to be an interesting series. It's definitely going to be an interesting series. And I'm not saying I'm not buying the Hornets. I think they're doing a great job. But they shot the living daylights out of the ball in that game in the fourth quarter. They're not going to shoot like that all series long. And the Spurs are champions for a reason. I think eventually in a hard-fought series, Spurs pull that out. Lakers.
And how many games do you think that was going to
I think that might go to 7.
Okay.
It might go to 6, 7, something along those lines.
So the Spurs have to pick up a win in New Orleans.
They have to, of course, yes, because the Hornets have the home court advantage. Now, the Lakers, Jazz is a good, solid team. They really are, and they're going to probably win some games at home, but they can't compete. Lakers are going to take it, right? So then you set up the Lakers versus the Spurs.
Now wait, let's get the details about the Lakers Utah. At least from your side, the Lakers Utah series. They won 109-98 in the first game. The Lakers won that one. But there was a 19-point blowout in the San Antonio game. There's a disconnect. You're betting us off the first game that Lakers are going to have an easy series with Utah.
No. Look, I don't know how many games the Utah Lakers series can run because Utah's a challenging team, and they got a real solid squad. Darren Williams, Okur randomly is like rebounding giant of the world now, right?
He had 19 rebounds in that first game.
Right, then they got Karolinko, let alone Carlos Boozer, let alone everybody else, right? So that's a real solid squad. I just don't see them beating the Lakers.
Okay.
I just don't see it, right? Okay. So you go Lakers-Spurs, and that's a historic matchup. Unless something goes wrong and the refs screw it up somehow, I mean, that's what legends are made of. And that's the real championship right there, Lakers-Spurs. And then whoever they get to in the East, they're going to maul.
So let me tell you exactly what's going to happen then, since you're done with that nonsense. Okay. The East means something. And it means something, of course, partially because I still think Boston still has it in them. Sometimes you get 7-game series that surprises you. I think they bought into this sweep of the Hawks more than everyone else did. They said, the Hawks, come on, they're young dudes. They don't have any playoff experience. Same thing everybody has been saying about New Orleans until they absolutely destroyed Dallas in the first round. Dallas keeps running into surprising juggernauts in the first round, which will cost Avery Johnson his job. So they ran into a little bit of a problem with Atlanta. Now, I think that can build something with you. Of course, you maybe tired yourself out a little bit. The players are a little older. I don't think they're playing around anymore. I think I think this will refocus them. We're going to be able to tell us in the first game of the Cleveland series. But again, it's Cleveland. They're the defending Eastern champions. They went to the finals last year. Everybody forgets, I think. So, but no, Boston pulled out that last blowout. They have the top seed throughout the playoffs. They haven't been close to being touched in Boston, even though Atlanta put up they put up some nice games at home. There were some barely wins a couple times. I don't think anybody can win in Boston. Mm-hmm. Boston's going to have to really flub and give up a game to lose to anybody. They may get pushed to 6 games and 7 games here and there. I don't think anybody's going to beat them in Boston. They look ridiculous in Boston.
I'll tell you one more thing about the East while you're on the East. is there ever been a more irrelevant second-round series than Detroit-Orlando? Who cares who wins that? Like, one of those guys, one of those teams is going to be the champion? I mean, they might come out of the East, but they're going to beat the team that comes out of the West?
I don't think either one of those teams can come out of the East.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying, in the best-case scenario, they come out of the East and get their ass handed to them by the West.
Right, yeah. And I will agree with that one.
All right, okay.
I mean, I'm paying attention to every series as close as possible, and I really it's hard for me to not be interested in a playoff series because this is probably one of the best times of the year for me. I love NBA playoffs. But Detroit-Orlando, the Orlando series in the first round against Toronto, who cares?
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then also Detroit was playing Philly in the first round. Anyway. Well, okay, so I still think Boston's going to come out. They're going to – I think they'll come out of the East. I think they'll have some trouble depending on who they play in the West. Now, New Orleans, San Antonio, that's going to go to 7 games. I'm sorry. It's going to go to 7 games. San Antonio's going to do it. It's hard for me to put that out there, but I'm sorry. David West, who I don't think many people knew who he was. He's now an all-star because of Chris Paul, who should have been the MVP, by the way. Nobody's really Kobe Bryant's going to get the MVP award.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's been reported. So those are most times.
Right. We're breaking it right here. Kobe Bryant's getting that.
He's going to get the MVP, and that's what everyone was, it was between him and Chris Paul. Chris Paul's the point guard for the Hornets, who, out of nowhere, they're calling, of course, this younger team. It's because of him.
Yeah,
he's doing it.
Absolutely.
Dave West had 30 points. Paul had 17 points and 13 assists. He usually pours it on in the fourth quarter. He comes out of nowhere. I think they're gonna. That's the hardest thing. That's really the hardest series to really call. I don't even want to say that Spurs are gonna win that one because you really can't tell. He made that whole team look ridiculous. Now the good thing that the Spurs can look forward to is Tim Duncan had 5 points and 3 boards. When does that ever happen?
Yeah, they're not going to be able to hold Duncan to that. Yeah. And the reason David West and others score so well is because they get wide open shots. Right. Yeah. Because of Chris Paul. Yeah. Right. And they got a good squad. I mean, don't get me wrong. They got Stojakovic, they got Bonzi Wells, they got Mo Peterson. I mean, they're hanging in there, right? But overall, the Spurs are too crafty.
Now, I'm going to give you the Cenk overconfidence statement. Utah is going to beat the Lakers. Utah is going to beat the Lakers.
Wow. That's strong. All right,
no, I like that kind of course, but I think it's probably.
But I think you're basic. You don't like the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm getting to that part.
Right.
This is, like I said, it's completely based in Cenk thought process. You put your feelings ahead a lot of times ahead of logic in sports betting. Sports calling,
what you're talking about.
Of course, and that's where I'm going with this because of course I don't want to see the Lakers win anything, but I think Utah has a decent chance. First of all, because Kobe had 38 points in that first game. Mehmet Okur had 21 points and 19 boards. They out-rebounded them. Utah out-rebounded them by, 17 rebounds? And they had 25 to 8 on offensive boards. You should lose that game. And really, what happened was Kobe went off for 38 points. Nobody else really did anything. I mean, you had Paul Gasol get some points just because Paul Gasol is the tallest guy in the league who nobody sees. I don't know how he's that wide open every time you look around. Every time I see him, he's standing in front of the rim, wide open. Jerry Sloan's a good defensive-minded coach. He'll get them settled down to it.
All right, so I hear you.
I see. The good signs of that is their offensive rebounds that killed him. Kobe Bryant had 21 free throws, 23 free throws, and he made 21 of them. That's not going to happen all the time. You're not going to get that many calls.
All right, so bottom line, who's the champion of the world at the end of all this?
I still think Boston's going to win it.
You think Boston's going to beat the Spurs?
I think they can.
Yeah, good luck to you.
See, then of course this all depends on what it looks like by the time finals rolls around. How many 7-game series each team has been in, or how much fight they've had to put up with. Because Boston, yeah, it took a little bit out of them to go to 7 games in the first round. We'll see what they look like against Cleveland, but you can't call. I'm calling Boston because I called it from the beginning, and I don't think I should change my horse now. But that's what I thought was going to happen from the beginning. I thought they were going to sweep Atlanta.
All right, well, ride that horse until it breaks both ankles.